breed Black Lab. My name is Robert Sterling. I'm a full-time certified state game warden. I've been a game warden for 15 years. That's my office right there. We don't work out of a barracks. My office is in the house where I actually do the paperwork. But everything we do, we work out of our house and we work out of our trucks. If you're interested in law enforcement, my job is the one job where you pretty much work for yourself. It's as close as you can come for being your own boss in law enforcement when you first start out. Couple down and dirty, my main job is enforcing all hunting, fishing, and trapping laws in the state of Vermont. We also do all boating enforcement, ATV, and snowmobile enforcement. I give you the list of equipment. I got a one-year-old Chevy truck that has a killer engine in it. It's not a big enough gas tank for the killer engine. I have two boats. I have a fairly brand new 18-foot Boston Guardian center console with a 135 horse motor on it. That runs strictly Lake Champlain. I'm also running a 17-foot Lumacraft John boat, pretty much plain clothes, unmarked. We use that sneaking up on duck hunters, everything else. It's also my primary boat for patrolling Lake Bombazine. I covered 35 miles of Lake Champlain and all the waters of Bombazine, Glen Lake, everything around here. So I'm pretty much on the water, whether it be frozen or not, all the time. For a snowmobile, I drive an Arctic Cat T660 Turbo. I've got a kayak, I've got a canoe, and I have a kind of a cheesy Polaris four-wheeler. But it works and it gets me where I need to go. We also get paid to go hiking. We're supposed to know the woods, we've got to know the trails. If you get lost, we're one of the main people that's coming to look for you. And that's where Rufus comes in. Rufus has two main jobs. One of his main jobs is to find gunpowder, shell casings, firearms, and explosives. Anybody got a guess why finding a shell casing would be important for a game warden? Absolutely. Somebody shooting stuff out of season. One of Rufus's best cases that happened just this past year. We had a doe that was shot, an illegal deer. It wasn't legal to shoot. It was that Thanksgiving weekend. And here. This guy, someone had shot a deer. All I had was a dead deer in the field, or in the woods. I had a large area to search. What I did was I had some suspects or some people that were hunting in a certain area, and I thought maybe they might be involved with this deer. So I ran into them, found them, got all their information, their guns, their ammunition, everything. Then I went to the scene where the deer was. Roof searched this whole area. He's just running around with a tennis ball looking for stuff. All of a sudden his head goes down and he starts tracking. What he did was he picked up the guy's scent, and he's a cheater. He thinks, he knows if he's got the human scent, that might be the guy that dumped the casing somewhere that he knows he's supposed to find. He runs down this little bit of a trail. His little butt keeps on going, but his head jams right into the ground. Snaps to a sit. It's called a passive alert. I get up to him, Rufus is shaking, he's just wigging out, he knows that's there somewhere. So I get up to him, can't see anything, I say, where the powder? He gets up, pushes the leaves out of the way with his nose, there's a shell casing right on the ground. That shell casing matched one of the guys that I just run into. PD caught up to him, we snaked his gun and the shell casing up to the lab. We lined that shell casing up, and I was able to prove with the lining up of the deer and where I found a bullet hole behind the deer, that was exactly where that shot came from at that shell. So where that gets into, one of the advantages of being a game warden is, I work a case right from the beginning all the way through. Now you got to have a passion for hunting and fishing, you got to have a passion for fish and wildlife. It is not the most glorious job, but it's a lot of fun if you love what you're doing. So we do our own CSI. We dissect the deer, we pull out the bullet, we look for the shell casing, we line all that up. We take that to court. Most people just pay their fines and they're done. So that's one of Rufus' favorite things. The other thing he'll do is you'll find, he'll find evidence. And what I'm going to do is, actually I'm going to take someone else's keys. Who's got a set of keys?
I do.
Yeah, too many. Small set of keys. You guys are all in college. You got a huge set of keys. Thanks, Matt. Hey guys. Duck. My arm is pretty cheesy. Alright. What do you drive? You got it, huh? Ooh, really? I love it when I throw the expensive cars. Anyway, I just thought I'd throw those away. So, Rufus knows that I threw something. So what we're going to do is kind of an evidence search. If you guys will kind of move, I'll show you what he does. Now, all police dogs are trained for evidence recovery. As I said, Rufus is a police dog. But instead of doing drug detection like these guys do, he does gunpowder, shell casings, firearms, and explosives. He's been certified since he was 9 months old. and he's the only gunpowder certified dog in the state of Vermont. And everything he does is for this. Take it out. And he saw me throw something up here, so he knows about where it is. You got it.
Dude, I wish I was a dog.
He's got something. He's looking, he's looking. Where's the... Leave that one, Johnny. Say. Come on. Leave that. One of the fun parts about college is though, everybody throws everything up here. Now he's searching for gunpowder, he's just going to find powder. Oh, now, one of the drawbacks is, the handler, you actually got to see the thing that the dog found. So yes, he did find the keys.
Yeah.
Boy, good job. Good job. So it does the same thing for gunpowder. Where's my guy with the Honda Civic? Right here. Hey, we're going far away. So now there's a couple things that Rufus looking for. One, he's going to pick up the human scent that's on those keys. That's part of what he's looking for. He's going to pick up anything that's out of the ordinary, something that's not supposed to be there. So, Rufus' other job is finding people. He tracks good guys, bad guys. Rufus doesn't care. Everybody he's looking for, he assumes has a tennis ball. So what time we got? 12:36. 12:30? That's it? 12:40. Alright, so we don't need to get into all that. Any questions on anything so far? So who knows what a dog is tracking when they're tracking people? What is, you're tracking scent. What is that scent? What is it about me? Well, maybe don't use me, because I know I handle a dead deer, and I know what I smell like. What is it about this guy that smells different than these guys?
Skin cells?
It's sort of. It's like skin cells. It's called skin rash. Basically, all you ladies that put the nice stuff on your face so the skin looks good, makes the skin healthier, rejuvenates it, all that fun stuff, right? You all know that every bit of skin that you see is dead, right? Everything we're looking at is dead. It's all dead and it's constantly falling off you. So these skin rafts are falling constantly. How many of you guys hunt? Yeah, I got a couple good hunters in here. How many of you guys that hunt buy that really good scent blocker stuff? You know, the nice clothing prevents any scent from getting out? I'd love for you to wear it. We'll track you anywhere you want to go. Now the funny part is, if the dog can still track you even with that scent blocker on, what do you think a deer can do?
Same thing.
Same thing. Now that said, what that stuff does do is it helps hold down, prevents wind from blowing that scent around and that kind of stuff. So it is still a help, but if a deer was actually to try and track you, your scent is still falling. Now, do you think your scent's falling from your boots, falling from your sneakers, falling from there? Probably not. Anybody know why your feet stink so bad? Because the scent particles are the skin rafts are still falling off, but your socks and your shoes nicely hold it all in one place. That's why they stink so bad. But nobody else smells like anybody else. If this guy were to run, he drops his hat, what you're going to see is, I'm going to have Rufus do a track, and we're going to go through all these places where all these other people have been. And he's going to start from somebody's hat. And when he's done, he's going to alert and tell me that, hopefully, it's still a dog, that was the guy we were tracking. This comes in handy. One of the things Rufus has done is we've had illegal deer shot up in Middlebury. No suspect, nothing. We started a track. Rufus tracks two ways. He either goes by precious human scent or a scent article. Now, in an area like this with so many people walking around, I would never know who Rufus was tracking. So if I was to go and track with this, I would have a scent article drop down, and I would know that I was tracking whoever dropped that scent article. But in that case of a deer, I knew that nobody had been around the deer. If anybody that had been around that deer was involved with killing that deer. So what I do is I put a leash on him, put a harness on him. When Rufus tracking, he has a harness. That's how he knows he's tracking people. We just walk an area until all of a sudden the little guy's head goes down. One of the tricks with the canines is I can't read his mind, but I've got to read his body. My job is to try and figure out, based on how his tail's moving, based on how he's digging, what he's doing, whether we're tracking somebody. Once he picks that up, and I know we're tracking a human, I tell him find him, and we start taking off. And in two separate cases up in Middlebury, we went right to two different people's houses and knocked on the door. And when a police officer shows up at your door with a canine unit, there's a high likelihood that somehow he got to that doorstep for a reason. And we testify based on how well those dogs do it. Any questions on anything? All right, where's my trooper? Bobby Giolito was having a really good lunch, I'm sure. All right. Let's see. So what I'm on is, you got a hat on, so I'm snaking you. Oh, you and your hat. You and your hat.
I'm gonna eat it.
And what I'm going to try and do is, with all these people, we're going to do a track around here. You got to go exactly where I tell you to, because I got 1,000 other people. And I need 2 people to go with us. Anybody? You guys. I'll get you next year. We'll let you get bit or something. He's not going to bite you. Well, he might bite you. Your hand is between him and the tennis ball. So come here, guys. I'm going to give you a job first. All right. Don't leave it up to me. See the bushes right here at the road? Once you drop your hat, let's use these bushes right here. Okay. Then you're going to walk straight across, and you're going to go to that apple tree right there in between. That apple tree. Yep, right close to me. Okay. Then you're going to go from that apple tree. I want you to go to the big oak, which is behind that really funky looking weird car. What is that?
No, behind the...
Yeah, you see the funky car up there, the thing with wheels? Cars? That tree behind it, I want you to touch that big tree. So you're going to go from bushes, apple tree, big tree, over to the propane tank, past this tree here. I want you to, just hide behind this big tree where those kids are playing. Alright? Hold on. When he gets to you, wait till he barks. Barks. Throw it for him. So just drop the hat right in the bushes, okay? Hat's critical. He doesn't drop his hat. Both of them, guys. He doesn't drop his hat, drop yours. Alright? So now, what I've done, guys, I've gone and actually given him an area to search so that, Rufus's certification track was 3.5 miles long and over 6 hours old before we started. So obviously this is pretty short. The reason I do this, yeah, Ruf can see them, but he's not going to remember everywhere they went. So I do an area like this so that everybody can kind of get an idea of how easy it is for me to read this dog. Some dogs are a little harder to read, but he makes it pretty clear. You're going to be able to tell, hopefully. He hasn't let me down yet. But you're going to be able to tell that Rufus is choosing to turn. So where's that other guy that was going to volunteer a minute ago? Where'd he go? All right. I need 3 more volunteers. White shirt, you're good. Green shirt in, great. Oh, sorry, man, I didn't see you. All right, we got 3. We're gonna give him a little time, and I gotta get a job, the whole group. We're gonna give them a chance to get there. What I'm using this to demonstrate as well is to show that even though there's all these other people around, Rufus can still track right through. This comes in handy when some guy's gone and fled from a car accident scene because he was drunk and gets to a house. Rufus can go to that house and then tell me, hopefully, which is the guy that was drinking in the car and which one was driving. Alright, so they're just about there. Jump in for a minute. Collars that I put on, don't try to head into the wall. I had some police officers one day say to me, "What'd you do to get this dog to get so mean?" Right? No. Let go. Let go. There you go. Now Rufus is pretty spoiled, as I said. He does sleep on the bed. But the wife loves him, so he's spoiled rotten. Now my personal dog is a German Shepherd, except I lost that to my wife. So it's a little different. Most people have a lab for their personal dog and a shepherd for their police dog. Go run a track. Now the trick is, guys, you're going to walk up to the area.
Hi, Rufus. Down. Rufus down. Hold this. Gotcha. Find it.
Look at him go. I'm just saying. Yeah, you know, that's a lot of running.
Where is he? Good boy. Go ahead, throw it for him. Woo! Good job.
11 times.
Good job, buddy. Good job.
Good job, Rufus.
Good job. Oh, sorry.
Imagine me that pumped on the ball.
Good boy, Will.
I don't know, like we could have just totally just like flashed. Sorry though, we did a real good job last year.
So guys, picture doing that for 3.5, 4 miles.
I'm good.
Yeah.
Come on. Oh my God. Now, if you guys can tell, it should have been pretty obvious that I wasn't Now, one of the things you'll see is, anybody here heard of Schutzen? Schutzen dog training? Schutzen dog training is, come on, Lisa. Schutzen dog training is a style of obedience and a training method focused primarily with German Shepherds, attack work, things like that. They do tracking work and they score it. And the dogs actually go very, very slow, and when they get to a turn, they have to make that turn. Now, if you were paying attention with Rufus, you'll watch that he doesn't go exactly where they go. The reason being is as they're moving, their skin rash, their scent, is moving. The dogs will also pick up on the ground as the boot presses down on grass. It breaks up the different bacteria which leave an odor. So the dogs can also pick up that human odor or that odor of the bacteria. In a case like this, it's all got to be the skin or he's going to mix up somebody else. So what happens is he keeps on going and he's following where the skin goes. Well, if I'm walking in this direction and I all of a sudden turn, my skin rash are still going to go that way for a little bit. So if you watch, almost every turn, Rufus would overshoot it. What he does, his head then comes up, and that's where I'm all of a sudden turning the other way. He'll yank me backwards, and that's like his reward that he's got the right thing. It's also a test for me to know that he's still on that track. So when you see the dog overshoot a track, we might go a little bit, but what he'll do is he'll lift his head up and turn and make me correct it. That's a lot of fun at 2 o'clock in the morning when we're tracking. I have to wear goggles now. We'll be going, we'll be tracking. All of a sudden, Roof shoots this way. Bam! And one time he put me right into a tree. He doesn't realize that Dad can't go everywhere that he goes. Any questions on any of that? So one of the things we do, part of my job here is to tell you guys a little bit about game wardens as well. You can tell that we wear all the same stuff as the state police. We wear all the same stuff as any of the law enforcement officers. We're full-time certified police officers. To get hired as a game warden, the first thing you have to do, and we're hiring right now, we need game wardens quite badly, to be honest with you. We're having a lot of retirements, and we need good game wardens. And we're not getting that many good applicants going for it. And it's not the best job in the world some days. At 2 o'clock in the morning when you're sitting there with your wife, hopefully in bed asleep, and the phone rings for gunshots fired. We go out on that by ourselves. We find the individual that's shooting, we find an illegal deer, we sit on it until the drunk guy with the gun comes back to grab the deer. And then we grab the drunk guy with the gun. More than once, until I wear 2 sets of handcuffs. Most of the time I'm dealing with at least 2 people. I say at least. I've been in situations before by myself with a lot more than that. We do all forms of law enforcement as well as the fishing game. I have an area over in West Haven. It's known as the Wild West, basically. It's the Cognate. I have run into more stuff in 15 years there than I can even tell you. 2 years ago, I was working in an area, saw a bunch of people parked on the side of the road. I assumed it was like you guys all going out for a hike. I can hear people out in the woods. So I grab Rufus, figure we'll go talk to him. The next thing I know, I hear a guy yelling, "Kick yo, beat him up, man, hit him!" I knew that I was not dealing with what I thought I was dealing with. When I got up there, they had built a whole arena. They had taken sticks and everything, and they were having their own little miniature fight club. A whole bunch of people that thought they knew martial arts and a whole bunch of other stuff. I think about it later, and I don't know why. I had a guy working with me. I told him, I said, just stay behind me. Rufus and I walked right into the group. We controlled about 14, 15 people by ourselves, moved them out of there, everything's safe. Got back in the truck and realized that that's one of the stories you don't tell your wife later. It's a fairly dangerous job. It's a solitary job. It can be lonely. It can be boring. You work by yourself all the time. For me, I'm not great with people. So I like to work alone. And there's nothing like, I don't have to worry about whether someone else got their paperwork in. I don't have to worry about someone else is doing their share of the job. I take the job, I do the whole thing, everything myself. But your home number is listed, and it's a very difficult job for families. There's no question. People expect that their game warden is available to them 24/7. We don't get to go to the grocery store in Vermont without getting asked a question of some sort. And that's fine, I enjoy doing that, but we have to be ready to do that. We're hiring until the end of April this year. For anyone that's interested, you have to have at least 2 years college. We're going to be trying to do a hiring almost every year. Once you fill out your application, from that point, there's a written exam. It's primarily fish and wildlife oriented. We don't expect you to know all the laws and how to enforce. They take the top 50 scores from that. From there, they do an oral board interview. They take the top 20 from there, or so. And then they do the physical fitness test, which requires you to swim. We're on boats. You don't have to swim to save everybody else, but you got to get your own hide out of the water. From that point, once you get hired, you go to the Vermont Police Academy like every other police officer for 16 weeks. After that, you train throughout the state with a different warden every month for 8 months. The reason being is, once you're assigned your district, you're on your own. You're all by yourself. I see my lieutenant maybe once a month. And that's only because he's a good guy. I like to have a cup of coffee with him. As long as you're productive in this job, you don't see anybody. But we do all forms of law enforcement. I had a guy almost hit me yesterday afternoon head on. He put my truck in a ditch. He's about to find out a lot of paperwork-wise of the enforcement we do. I love my truck. You can't put it in a ditch. Any questions on anything? Yes, sir.
Is it limited to, does every game warden use a dog, and can you choose the type of breed you want to use for your dog?
Canine work has probably been the most rewarding thing that I've done as a canine, as a game warden. Most game wardens do not have canines. Canines are a lot of work. Rufus being certified in both gunpowder and tracking, he has to go to the police academy once a month, each of those. Currently, we're actually up higher up. We've got 4 canine units. Fish and wildlife-wise, the state's broken into 4 pieces: northeast, northwest, central, and south. I'm the canine handler for the central. I'm the most senior canine handler at the time. So really, there's only going to be 4 canine handlers at a time throughout the department. But at some point, there's only 28 game wardens in the field in the whole state. So at some point, your odds of getting a canine, if you really, really want one, are there. You just have to show the initiative and the desire. We can choose our own breed. I grew up with shepherds. Rufus my first lab. Part of the reason I went with labs, and everything we've got right now are labs, is I work a lot of duck hunters, things like that. Roof blends right in. We do a lot of plain clothes, undercover stuff. So if I have a German Shepherd, people are going to know that that's really not a great duck retrieving dog, and it's probably not supposed to be there. It also works better. He's on the water all the time. When he gets hot, all I got to do is dump him in the lake. He actually has learned to climb the swim ladder on the boat. What he does, he gets up to the boat with his toy. I'll throw this toy off the boat. He'll come up to me. He'll kick his legs, and he's got a different collar. I just pull pressure on the collar. He kicks his leg and climbs back up in the boat. I'm usually drenched after the operation, but it feels good for me too. But yeah, you can pick your own breed, but labs tend to be the breed we go with. You want the longer snout because they tend to pick up more, have more olfactory nerves or whatever all those things are. I am not a biologist, so. Now, you don't always have to have college. I do not have college. In this day and age, I think college is definitely something you need to compete to be into this. But I actually have 4 years U.S. Coast Guard. I was boarding commercial fishing boats off the Northwest Atlantic. I figured I'd take a little Vermont kid, teach them what a haddock looks like, and enforce those things, so I could do this. I was also doing migrant interdiction operations, picking up migrants and drug interdiction off of Cuba, Haiti, and that stuff. So, military is definitely a good route to go. In fact, if you really want to go for this job, try to do both. Go for the guards as well. We have one guy that came on, he's going to be a great warden. We advised him the same thing. He joined the Marine Guard, or the Marine Reserves, and as soon as he finished his training, he's been in Afghanistan ever since. So, maybe it's not the best route. But, any questions? Anybody else? Anybody interested in being a game warden? Awesome. I will tell you that it is a very rewarding job. One of the big things they say for law enforcement, and it's all of them in Vermont, New England, not the big cities, but about law enforcement is about 90% of utter boredom and paperwork, which falls into the boredom, and 10% extremely high energy, high risk, sheer terror, and adrenaline. And that part is awesome. There is no better drug than adrenaline and trying to get back and figure out what just happened and realize, did I control myself or did I freak out? So, if you have any questions, I live in Fairhaven. My last name is Sterling. So if you think Sterling Silver or game warden in Fairhaven, we do take people on ride-alongs, preferably if you're over 18 years old. Take you out on the boat, take you out in the truck, show you what it's all about. I took a ride-along yesterday, or not yesterday, last week. We got to go hiking all day because I had to go into a couple of spots. But it's a pretty awesome, rewarding job. I always wanted to be a trooper, and I picked this because I needed to get hired by somebody. And for 15 years, I wouldn't have changed a thing. And this right here, Rufus received 2 life-saving awards. We've saved, which we didn't get an award for, but we also found an 82-year-old Alzheimer's patient walked away from her house in Fairhaven. He's made quite a few pretty awesome tracks. And as far as rewarding goes, there's nothing like hearing your dog bark, calling him back, letting him go back to the person, and watching this lost elderly lady petting your dog like this, saying, "Good puppy," and your puppy licking her on the face, and knowing that you've just done something pretty awesome that other people wouldn't have been able to do. I wouldn't trade it for the world. So, I don't know what time it is. I wasn't really timing myself to go, but I'm available for any questions, anything that you guys have. I don't know what happened about Giolito, and I'm not going to take Mitch out of the truck because Mitch will not let me take him out of the truck. Car. Any questions? Great. Thanks a lot, guys.